Let's talk about V4. You have seen V4 in the introductory example. We use V4 there to iterate an array. We got this array of users, and we use V4 to create 7 TR, table rows. So we can insert them in the table. But we can use V4 for other things. For example, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use V4 to iterate a range, then iterate an array. You have seen this in the example. We're going to use V4 to iterate properties or values in a JS object. So first, let's look at how to use V4 to iterate a range. It's super simple. Let's say you are trying to print 10 values to the page. This is what you should do. Is use span and V4 I in 10. So 10 is the last value, and I will start at 1. Be careful that I start at 1. For every span, we're going to print one value. So we're going to print 1, and the next span, we're printing 2, and so on and so forth. Since span is an inline element, we're going to print everything on the same line. So you can use V4 to iterate a range. I think the most important application of V4 is using V4 to iterate an array. So as you have seen in our introductory example, we can use V4 directive to render a list of items based on an JS array. The V4 directive requires a special syntax in the form of item in items. These items here is a given array, and item represents one element or one item in this array. Let me show you an example. Well, here in my data, I have a students array. So students array has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. What I want to do is I'm going to list them in an unordered list or UL. So here is UL, and in there I have list. So the first one is Harry, then the second one is John, and so on and so forth. But I don't want to hard code them there. I really want to iterate through this array using V4 and use V4 to dynamically generate the 5 list item. What should I do is I'll only leave 1 there, and I'm going to leave this empty. All right. I'm going to add a V4 to the HTML element that you want to repeat. So V4, it's very simple. And remember the syntax is item in items. Well, the items here really should be students. So I'm going to copy this and put it here. So this is the source. Now this refers to the array we defined in data. So it's called student. Okay, student in students. What we want to do here is, so first, let me just simply show you everything here. So student. So student is here. If I'm going to launch it, as you can see, the 5 students are printed. Okay, or every element or every item in this array gets printed here. We can also print a index for each student because this is an array, and the array, every element has an index. So how can we do that? What we can do is we can use this index. So this is a keyword. For each student, before we print the student name, we're going to print index is a space. Okay, so let me refresh. As you can see, we'll see 0, Harry, 1, John, 2, Ron, and so on and so forth. So this index is a keyword. You can only use index, not other keywords. We can also use V4 to iterate all the values that we defined in a JS object. In this example, there is an object, JS object called object. Well, this is a really good name for the object, right? It's called object. There are 3 properties. Now, basically, a property is a key value or name value pair. Title, author, published at. How can we print all the values, like in this case, values here in a list? So this is the syntax, how we iterate values in object. This is the object. This object refers to the object we defined in data object. And the value refers to the value after this name here, title, author, and published by. So let me show you how to do this in VS Code. So now I'm under demo 17 v4.html. Here we have a different object. Now this time I give it a better name. It's called product. It has 3 properties or 3 key value and name value pairs. We're going to print them in a unordered list. So Lee, we want the first Lee to print ID equal to 1001. The second Lee print iPhone 11, and third one prints this price. But using V4, you no longer need to hard code it there. We can use V4 to create the 3 Lee automatically for you. I'm going to add the V4 here. Now, for most beginners, there is a mistake, is they add this v4 in here, in UL. That's a mistake because you do not want this v4 to create 3 or more UL for you, right? You really want to create more Li. So we're gonna put v4 here. Is equal to, let me show the simple one, is value in the object name, which in this case is product. I'm gonna print value. All right, so only values will be printed. Now the key or the name will not be printed. So if I refresh, as you can see, we have the 3. Now, what if we also want to include the name here? But that's fine. What we can do is we can add a second argument in here. Let's call it name. And I'm gonna put name in front. And I'm going to just use a colon to separate them. Okay, make sure you know that the second argument is the key or the name. The first one is the value. When I refresh, I have ID, name, price. So that's how we use v4 to iterate and JS object. Before we say goodbye to v4 temporarily, okay, I want to show you the last example. So we're in demo 18 v4.html. In this case, I have an array, it's called products, and this is an array of JS objects. So it's kind of like we combine demo 16 and demo 17, you know, how do we iterate an object and how we iterate an array together, because this is really an array of objects. This is an array of products, and each product has its own internal structure. So how can we print everything in a table nicely? This is the first row, is the header, table header. And then we're going to add a v4 to tr because we want multiple trs, right? In this case, 1, 2, 3 trs. For every tr, we're going to print this object, right? So here's how we do it. We have product. Now that's the item in this array. In this case, this one refers to the first. The first row is the first product. Then we're going to get the first product's ID, name, and price. And then in the next iteration, product becomes the second product, and so on and so forth. That's how we print an array of JS objects. So this is very useful. I want every student to try it out at home.